Welcome to American Christian or Christian American. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome if it's your first time. If it's your first time and you haven't seen my previous videos, I would encourage you to go back to the beginning and watch episode 1 and on. You can watch some now, but you're really going to get context if you go back to the beginning to look at the foundation of how I set things up. Now maybe a little more polished now, but still I have some good information to share. I started this year in April, and so we're continuing on. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would encourage you to subscribe. There's no financial commitment to subscribing. Some people think there is. It's just simply allowing you to get the videos faster, and it does encourage other people maybe to watch the videos if there's more people who are subscribed. Also, if you hit that like button, the like button also gives me a little feedback, but it also helps the algorithm with YouTube in order for more people to get a chance to see the videos. Well, today we're going to be talking about a quote that Lyndon B. Johnson made. And so I'm going to put up a clip of me talking about that, and then we'll go back and I'll break it down a little bit more. So let's get to that clip, and then we'll start our discussion. All right, this is about President Lyndon B. Johnson. And he says this is about the lowest white man and the best colored man. You look down here, it says President Lyndon B. Johnson once said, if you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, he give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. As we had occasionally to point out previously, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson had a complicated relationship with issues of race. Born and raised in the South in the early part of the 20th century, Johnson grew up immersed in the prejudice of the time and place, then carried them with him through his political career. Down here for 2 decades in Congress, he's a reliable member of the Southern Bloc, helping the Stonewall civil rights legislation. Okay, and then going down here, yet by the time Johnson became president, after the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963, he was ready to plot all of his political capital to the passage of the civil rights legislation initiated by his predecessor. By most accounts, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 couldn't have become law when it did had it not been for LBJ, personally wheeled and cajoled and shamed his former colleagues in the House and Senate into voting for it. One of the secrets of his success was the ability to speak the racially insensitive language of the fellow Southerners. He understood them. All right, look down here. Again, Trump. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. He'll give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. President Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay. If you can convince the poorest, the most uneducated white person that they're superior to the most educated, most prominent, most successful black person, he didn't say it that way, but if you can convince that you're superior to him, you'll be able to pick his pockets. In other words, racism blinds people, while the people in charge rip you off. Think about it. You see, when you decide to be uneducated, you'll believe anything. Now, I'm not talking about going to college or universities. You don't have to go to those schools to be educated. What do you have to do? You have to be inquisitive. You have to try to read about things. You have to ask questions. You have to open yourself up to beyond, perhaps, to what you have been exposed to right in front of your face. Now, I'm not telling you that you might not have some good things in front of your face. But when you limit yourself, you actually hurt yourself and you hurt other people. So In other words, you have a low self-esteem because you have little to account for. And so this idea is put into your head that being white makes you better than black people. No matter what they succeed at, no matter what they do, you don't have to do anything and you're better than them. So you take your low self-esteem and you get pumped up a little bit because I'm superior to these people over here. I'm better than you. And all the while you're so engaged in hearing all the things that feed into that whiteness is greatness, they're ripping you off. How are they doing that? Well, let's break it down a little farther. I'm going to use some things that were talked about in Appalachian, Kentucky. Now, I am not singling Appalachian, Kentucky out as being less than other people, because what I'm going to do is make a point here. And what I'm saying, though, is that most of us, if not all of us, to a point, can have the same problem, and many people do. There's just a issue I'm going to use. It was people have talked to people in Appalachia, and they will tell you they hate Obamacare, but they love the Affordable Care Act. I'm going to give that just a second. They hate Obamacare, but they love the Affordable Care Act. Have you figured out what's wrong with that picture? Let me lay it out for you. The Affordable Care Act and Obamacare are the same thing. The original name was the Affordable Care Act, but those who choose to mock it ridiculed it by giving it the title Obamacare. But when you take a group of people who are uneducated, and granted, they're not the only ones that are in that state, so I'm not singling them out as being worse than everywhere else in the country. When you take people who are uneducated and they're racist, and because they don't like a black man, and because they think perhaps they're better than an educated black man who became president, they don't want anything to do with Obamacare. But at the same time, they're benefiting from the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare. Now, I think we need something more than the Affordable Care Act. We need single-payer health care in this country. But that's not the point. People will dislike something just because a black man may have been involved in, or a black woman may be involved in it. They will put something down just because of that. And the powers that be, the wealthy, the white Christian nationalists, will rob you blind because they want to destroy Obamacare or something along those lines. And you say, yes, but they're taking away that thing you love, the Affordable Care, because you don't know the difference. And see, that's the problem with a lot of people in this country. They don't know what they're talking about because they don't look into it. Too many people in this country, no matter what you look like, whether you look like me or African American, whether you're Native American, too many people in the country go and vote on things they don't understand. So no matter what you vote for, you need to make an intelligent decision, because when you think you're hurting somebody else or taking something away from somebody else, it may be you that you're helping to take it away from. For instance, Trump, in office, he talked about doing some things that a lot of white racist people would support. But again, he's trying to hurt Social Security. The Congress has voted against Medicare and Medicaid, all these things. And now all of a sudden, these white people are upset. But you see, if you're focused on putting down that black man you think is less valued than you, and they have gone to school and gone to education, all these other things, then you're going to hurt yourself. Now, I am not in any way saying that if you have less education, that all these other things that you're inferior. What I am saying is that you're not superior. And it behooves you to learn some things for yourself. Read. Don't just accept someone's opinion just because they said it and just because they look the way you think they should look. Do comparisons. Look at different articles and opinions, different books and opinions. Think about what you're doing. Put aside those preconceived ideas or this indoctrination that this country has given you, and start to look at reality. Talk to some African Americans. Actually talk to some African Americans, not just one or two people. Talk to a array, because people, guess what? Just because they're African American doesn't mean that they all have the same opinion. Talk to different people. Ask some same questions. Get responses and get a consensus for what you think. But be honest and true that you're really trying to learn. Don't come there with some cocky attitude like you're superior. Go there and actually try to learn. Make your own judgments by looking at things honestly. You will actually help yourself. See, the people on top who push racism and demean African Americans and all these other things, they'll screw you just as well. There is nothing Christian about these people. There's nothing honorable about these people. There's nothing that makes any sense about these people. Unless you want to be a white, racist, superior, money-hungry, power-hungry person who dehumanizes people. You see, along with white supremacy goes all the other things against unions, where people are trying to make a living. You want to make as much money as possible. You want to talk about white people being the first Americans. No, you're not. Native Americans were the first Americans. And I've seen some t-shirts, a Native American holding up a shirt. How can you be illegal on stolen land? Because that's what this land is. It was stolen from the Native Americans. It was acquired by murder. It was acquired by theft. It was acquired by false religion, false Christianity that was not true. Because Christianity, the Bible's true, but not what they brought. When they gave blankets to the Native Americans infected with smallpox to try to wipe them out. You think that you're better than other people because of the color of your skin? You actually have demeaned yourself to be less, because none of us are superior. We are all created how we are created. We are all descendants from God, and we are all children of Adam and Eve, and then down through Noah and his 3 sons. And we were all descended from medium brown people. None of us looked like me in the beginning. None of us. Now, it doesn't mean that people who look like me are less human, less important to God, but we are not superior. And African people are the cradle of civilization. They came up with many creations in life. That doesn't mean that white people didn't, but white people through the Moors were educated. Okay, well, we took that education and did some things, but let's stop lying about the fact of where we got our start from. We got our start from educated black people through the Moors who brought it to Spain, who spread throughout Europe. All right? If we can embrace each other and stop demeaning each other, we can be such better people. We need each other. And just think again. And you act like a fool and you call yourself better than everybody else, somebody's ripping you off because you're believing all the silly things that they say. Don't you want to be wise to that? Don't you want to stop just following around what people tell you what to believe? Be a man, be a woman, be somebody as an individual who chooses to go the right path, who chooses to be something more than somebody who just sits around, drinks beer, watches TV, goes to work. You're meant to be more than that. And in order for you to make good decisions to make life better for your kids, for everybody else, you have to think for a living. Don't get wrapped up in all this hate, because hate is something that covers over who you're supposed to be. We are not meant to be racist. We are all the same race. We are 99.9% identical. It is impossible for us to be different races. That is a social construct created by society of white supremacists who wanted to keep people down. Until the next time on American Christian or Christian American, good night.